I'd like to talk to you a little bit about what we're doing here at Intermountain around product strategy. My name is Greg Nelson. I serve as the AVP of Analytics Services, and I'm speaking on behalf of an entire team who focuses on creating special journeys or experiences with our data products. When we think about experiences, let's think about for a moment what that really means to you. We have experiences waiting online for a customer service representative to answer our question, or we might have an experience checking into a hotel or a restaurant. All of those experiences are independent for who we are and what we expect. But let's look about what we think are in common relative to the creation of experiences, the design of experiences. In this first example, we have a Wendy's employee who is taking care of an elderly customer. By co-opting an umbrella and helping him to his car, that requires some specialness, special character, extraordinary service that goes above and beyond what they were trained to do, I suspect, at Wendy's. Contrast that with organizations who design experiences, train their employees, look for identity, those people who actually care about the ultimate experience that we're creating. That didn't just happen. That was created, that was designed. A great example of this is from a book called The Heart of Hospitality. The concierge asks, is there anything else I can help you with? And the customer says, well, I've always wanted a pony. And the concierge responds with, let me see what I can do. A few minutes later, 4 printed pages were slid under that customer's door with color photos of all of the horses or ponies that were available within a 25-mile radius of that particular hotel, with a note that says, we'd be happy to procure one for you if you have the funds available to do so. That's a great example of customer service, creating a delightful experience. There is no doubt that that customer will remember that for the rest of their lives. At Intermountain Healthcare, we are a large integrated delivery health system with 25 hospitals, including a virtual hospitals, about 2,800 licensed beds, about 225 clinics, about 42,000 caregivers. And our strategy is really rooted on this idea that we're growing through acquisitions and mergers to create the Intermountain West. So based on that merger and acquisition strategy, that growth strategy, it's going to be really important for us to be, whatever we do must scale. To deliver on our proposition, we're committed to 4 ideals, if you will. We're committed to our customers, we're committed to our caregivers, we're committed to our value, and we're committed to our mission. One of the things that we're thinking a lot about is, what does it mean to be committed to our mission? Historically, we've measured that through strategic alignment. Are we doing the things the organization wants us to do, as evidenced by our strategic priorities and how we measure our performance? This year, we're pivoting just a little bit. Instead of focusing on strategic alignment, we're focused on strategic impact. And if you think about what's really important in terms of strategic impact, it's going to require a shift from outputs to outcomes. We have the basic proposition here that we can drive outcomes needed in healthcare at velocity and at scale, again, aligning to our growth strategy. In order to do that, our hypothesis is this. If we can create products that people want, that are desirable, that solves a system of problems for our caregivers, it's durable, that it lasts, we're not doing one-off products, and creates sustainable value, then we've done something right. So our strategic focus organization-wide is focused on these 5 core things. One of these is to create the best consumer experience in healthcare. Let's dig into that just a little bit. If we think about that question, one of the vectors of that question might be, how do we create, or how might we improve access and coordination of care for patients across care settings and specialties? When we talk about experiences can be defined as the act of living through events. These ultimately become our memories, our stories, our teachers, and ultimately mold us into the people that we are. Experience is extraordinary because you can't purchase it, but it has value. You can't give it to others, but you can share it. And you can earn it, but it can never be taken away from you. In analytics, we talk a lot about the backstage, the offstage, the front stage, and the design experience. Let me dig into that just a little bit for you. The backstage are all those supporting cast of characters that do everything from organizing the stage to advertising to commercializing to taking care of the finance. Within analytics, we have similar functions. The backstage often relates to how do we prepare data? How do we implement data quality rules? Or how do we actually test and validate our AI models? Those are often relegated to backstage activities. The front stage, on the other hand, is what the consumer, or in this case, the analytic caregiver that consumes that insight is expecting. That caregiver expects a delightful experience. Hey, I have a problem, I have a question, I have a situation, I have an opportunity, I have a question. And that analytic caregiver is all about how do we actually take care of that in a delightful way. And so what sits between the backstage activities of data prep and data wrangling and a delightful experience is often what we call the designed experience. How do we create experiences that are consistent, reliable, and help our caregivers actually do more with data? In theater, we often talk about these backstage, the design experiences, and front stage. And you see the example here of the Muppets, which I absolutely love this example. You can see on the backstage there's a flurry of activities, but what the customer experiences is not the blood, sweat, and tears that went into that production. It's the actual output or outcome in this case. So despite the fact that this is a video, I have a question for you I'd like to think about for just a second. In healthcare analytics, where does analytics belong? Is it the front stage? Is it the backstage? Or is it offstage? I would argue historically, analytics has been relegated to either offstage or backstage, not necessarily impacting the perception and the experiences that our patients and our frontline caregivers go through. That's changing, and I think that's changing in an important and significant way. To illustrate this point, I want to talk a little bit about SHAKIRA. SHAKIRA presents at an urgent care for a skin condition. Physician findings indicate possible melanoma. The patient needs a dermatology consult ASAP. The physician fills out the referral paper gets lost, patient care is delayed. When SHAKIRA is finally seen by a dermatologist, she's diagnosed with metastatic melanoma. SHAKIRA's story, unfortunately, is all too common. And we see this range of emotions illustrated in this journey map, where we have the sentiment of positivity and the sentiment of negativity or sadness or frustration. Over this experience, where we go from referral to choosing a specialist to what the recommendations are, we see this shift going from I'm finally seen, I finally have a path forward, to uncertainty, curiosity, irritation, satisfaction, exasperation, frustration. In healthcare, we can do better. We expect data-driven digital innovation, more than just AI, to be able to assist in this journey, to be able to assist not only our caregivers, but our patients and our community. The opportunities are abound. We could come up with next best action algorithms, patients like me recommenders, AI-enabled patient matching, virtual assistants, pre-authorization algorithms, care pathway departure warnings, and e-consult recommenders, just to name a few. The opportunity to reduce friction for our patients in these experiences matter. Not every patient is going to experience the same journey. In fact, I would argue that each patient journey is uniquely different for them. So oftentimes one of the challenges that we stop thinking about or we get stuck on is the fact that how do we create experiences if there's so many different patient journeys? And the key is, how do you do this at scale? Which leads us to our strategic question, one of the ones that we're really focused on in product. How might we deliver insights every time, where and how they are most useful? The fundamental question of how do I deliver personalized insights in the way that people want to consume them, how they want to consume them, where they want to consume them, and when they want to consume them is pivotal to our product strategy. At Enterprise Analytics, we have three strategic themes: embed, empower, engage. Embed is all about how do you deliver insights into systems of engagement, where people need or are thinking about and are solving problems. It can't be stop what you're doing and go look over here. It has to be embedded within those same constructs. The empower strategy is really about data literacy and helping people feel more confident about how to ask questions of data and to be able to deliver interpretations of those and design interventions. And the final one is about engage, and that's all about co-creation, which is the center of this conversation today, which is how do we co-create in a way that delivers products that people want, that are desirable, that are feasible, that are sustainable. At Intermountain, we've actually gone through a number of journeys, and we call it phases, if you will. The first phase was really our federated strategy. A long time ago, we had different caregivers living within the business units that they supported. Lots of really great work going on individually, but we lost the economy of scale. We lost the ability to train, to be able to have consistent processes, methodologies, and conform data elements, and so on. So the second strategy really was about centrally managed but locally deployed. I think this is one of our things that make us special, that our analytic caregivers are embedded with our customers. This was really about how do you manage them, how do you take care of them, how do you make sure that our analytic caregivers are growing and they're developing things in consistent, methodologically appropriate ways built on standards and repeatability, while at the same time delivering customized care for how we deliver data and insights. As we pivot into our third stage, it's really about how do you instead of bringing people to the work, which oftentimes leads to unintended consequences. And the unintended consequences could be the haves and the have-nots, where some customers have more people who take care of them than other teams. And so our product strategy is really about, instead of bringing the people to the customers, we're bringing the problems to the team. So we'll design product teams that really address these core fundamental domains, whether it's the problem of mass personalization of insights, or if it's the problem of being able to deliver specialty referrals. We're going to bring those problems to product teams who will design and deliver solutions. So why product? We often talk about projects as focusing on outputs, the activities, the status reports, hey, I did this, as opposed to products, which really focus on outcomes. And in product strategy, we really have four big components. The first is the voice of the customer. That is what's needed. Those are our governance councils that help us understand what are the priorities. Next, we have content authority. What is the priority, and how does this fit with all of the other things that we could potentially be doing? Execution authority is really about how do we staff it and what skill sets are going to be required to execute on that? Who are we going to use to build it? And finally, technical authority. How do we make it work and how do we make it scale? So product is really a different organizational strategy. Its operating model is fundamentally different from traditional HR line management functions within analytics to, hey, let's design the products appropriately for our customers, and we'll pull the people together to actually solve those problems. So products can be anything. In this example, I have products that are more traditional, like a data catalog. Those are more traditional products. So data catalog, a registry, an AI model, those would be examples of data products. But other examples of data products could be a service. For example, an educational opportunity. I teach, for example, a decision intelligence masterclass, and we've designed an experience for our caregivers to go through a 12-week program to learn how to be consultative, to learn how to do design thinking and product thinking, and how do I do strategy, and incorporate that into my work. But it's also a design experience for our customers where we're working on wicked problems for them. So those are examples of products, and we don't discern between products that may manifest themselves in a version number versus experiences that are delivered maybe through consulting or other types of engagement. And one of the things that we're really trying to teach through this whole process, and particularly the decision intelligence master class, and our product work, is how you frame the problem matters. If I frame the problem in this example from Harvard Business Review as the elevator is too slow, I'm probably going to get solutions that align up to how we frame that problem. such as, hey, we need better algorithms, we need to replace the motor, or maybe we need more elevator lifts. Whereas if we reframe the problem as the weight is annoying, all of a sudden it changes what we focus on and opens up a world, divergent thinking, into what we possibly could focus on. In this case, we could put up mirrors to help people, maybe look at themselves and distract from the wait time, play music, install hand sanitizer. Those are some simple examples that are given by this author in Harvard Business Review. And it may be true that we need faster elevators, but we need to make sure we're framing the problem so it allows for a range of opportunities. I love this quote from Colin Powell where he says, "Don't bother people for help without first trying to solve the problem yourself." If we think about the root of the problem, reframing can be the key to help us get there better. When we talk about products that requires orchestration, if we look at the end customer, in this case, our data consumers, we have healthcare operations, financial outcomes that they're looking to drive. And they might do that through an automated insight or a dashboard, an algorithm, some visualization, or a data story. But one of the things that's really important to note here is that the front stage in this case is for the customer, but we also have a backstage. And the backstage, maybe in this case, the product manager is really focusing on data literacy and insights and data stewardship and observability. So the key here is that someone's front stage might be someone else's backstage. And that's a really critical part as we think about product. Extending that, now we go from the data consumer, the product manager, now to the product owner, who's really getting to a level of granularity, having to deliver on things like metrics and definitions and dashboards and machine learning. And we consider that once again, that someone else's front stage is someone else's backstage. So orchestration matters. In this case, the data developer is focused on data models and data flows and functional requirements and business roles. So this orchestration becomes critically important in product. And one of the things that we've done to organize around that and to promote best practices is to make sure we have the right roles and responsibilities and expectations about where people play in these processes. If we think about the ultimate analytics role, it's about delivering value to our patients. Every dollar we spend doing something else is a dollar we can't spend on a patient. So if we think about the orchestration culminating on improved outcomes, whether the improved outcome is affordability, accessibility, or better quality and outcomes, think about the orchestration of activities that have to happen in this world, where we actually have a myriad of players. We have a team of teams that are helping deliver on these things. When we get stuck, when there's opportunities that don't present themselves particularly well, that becomes a little bit of a challenge and a bottleneck. Ultimately, we are trying to drive towards the improved outcomes, where the diagnosis and treatment plan is enabled by AI and insights and next best action and ultimately the outcome. But it's only a part. Perhaps it's an offstage or a backstage activity. But the result is that we need to enable our caregivers to deliver on the front lines the things that customers and patients in this case value. So as we think about some of the things we're focused on at Intermountain, it's really about the patient and caregiver experience. Designing for experience. Those moments that matter are important. Reducing frictions, anticipating need, improve strategic impact, decrease duplication, and ultimately improve agility and velocity so that we can scale based on our growth strategy. So how does product thinking help? Analytics product management is really about an approach for continuous delivery of value at scale that meet the needs of a group of customers. And the video or the vignette here shows the example that it's no longer separate. We don't have a customer throwing a ticket over the wall and getting an answer and having us punt it back. It's about being at the same table. It's about understanding the customer signals and being able to define the products and build the products appropriately. So a good example is DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's not a matter of putting up a dashboard. Yes, data products help. Data products help shine a light on the opportunities and where the blind spots or the potential frictions in the system might be. But one of the things that I'm most proud about the team that built this is not only did they stop with the dashboard, they actually looked to interventions. And that's the next best thing in my mind about analytics. It's about not just delivering information and stop thinking about it. It's actually about focusing on the ultimate outcomes that we need to drive. So if we think about what this is going to take, It's really a shift in operating model. It's a shift to portfolio level governance and, of course, change management. People need to know what their role is in this new world, and how do we upskill them, and how do we actually take care of them and help them understand how to develop those skills appropriately. So what's next for us? At Intermountain, we're really focused on creating a frictionless experience, both for our caregivers and our patients. So we know that enabling digital experiences so that we can optimize these customer journeys through these digital front doors, whether it's internal or external, are going to be critical. It's about actionability and insights. Caregivers provided the right information at the right time in the right place to enhance the care experience, and building experiences through cross-functional teams and products to deliver best-of-breed care delivery models. But we're not stopping with just products. We've really talked a lot about experience today. Product is one element in the experience chain, but we know that we've got to do better. If we think about this book by Joseph Pine and James Gilmore, The Experience Economy, we need to really focus on the premium differentiated experience in healthcare. In order to deliver the best experience for consumers in healthcare, we've got to elevate this. We've got to change this dynamic. And our role is shifting. As we think about our role, traditional role in analytics played was utility. Just get me the data I need. I'll do the interpretation. I'll do the intervention. I'll change that. And what we found is sometimes things didn't always change. Dashboards did not influence behavior. And so if we move from our role as a utility player to an enabler, all of a sudden now we begin to co-create. But co-creation is not enough. It's not about just simply enabling our customers. We're closest to the data. We know the data really well. We know when anomalies appear in the data. So it's really about that shift to being a driver. And the driver becomes really important organizationally because it's that high touch. So our goal is to deliver 90% of our retrospective reporting automatically without human intervention, so that we can focus our consulting effort really on that high touch experience of being a driver, helping to identify proactively the problems and provide thoughtful, considerate, strategically aligned analytics consulting. Our journey continues. Our strategy is really built on this provider and the patient being the center. And you'll notice here in this diagram that data and analytics is core to our strategy. Becoming a people-centric product organization is about putting the customer first. It's solving for multiple channels and creating a holistic customer experience. It's about guiding feature products and services and solutions that resonate with our customers, their understanding, their desires, and their expectations. And it's about communicating and motivating an ideal or improved solutions to be able to have a seat at the table to influence. I love the simplicity of these 7 steps from the book, Win the Value Revolution. It's a little bit dated, but I think they're really important for us to remember. Make the customer's life easier, provide greater responsiveness, take on the customer's problems, empower them, manage the customer's complexity, involve the customer, and provide greater customization and choice. Now you would say, well, how do I scale if I'm providing customization and choice? And that's really where our platform for data-driven digital innovation is so important. It provides mass personalization of insights in the way that people want them, where they want them, and how they want them. I'd like to leave you with a quote from Tim Brown, the CEO of IDEO. A leader's creative capacity is their ability to envision radically new ideas, collaborate with others to execute on them, and then ensure that they take hold and evolve in the world. Thank you for your time today, and I look forward to your questions and continued dialogue, whether that be LinkedIn or Twitter, or just reach out to me via email. I've left my email address here. Thanks so much.